I think I told many of you before, but for the new people over here, understand the music is not for you. The music is for me to hype myself up. I do all my videos live and uncut with no script. Basically what I do is I think about what I'm going to talk about, and then I play a little music, get myself into the, into the rhythm, and then what I do is I just hit record. I am T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live of realcombatmedia.com, and I cover every single major fight live. So if you don't know what I do, I am, as they call, a video blogger turned a boxing, an official boxing media reporter. I've done it all in a year. Don't ask me how. Thank you to realcombatmedia.com. Of course, the same way fighters would thank Al Heyman. I cover every single major fight live, and since it's Danny Garcia, and I'm from Philly, I was obligated to go cover his fight live. So I was in the Barclays Center August the 1st, 2015 on ESPN, PBC on ESPN, where you had the undercard of Danny Jacobs versus Sergio Mora, and then, of course, the main event was Danny Garcia versus Paulie Malignaggi. This is Danny Garcia's move back to 147 pounds. A lot of people don't understand that Danny Garcia has only spent a third of his career at 140 pounds, if I'm correct, starting with Kendall Holt. So 147 pounds is more natural to him, to the point where he said in an interview that I've had with him, I talked to him, he said that one of the biggest issues that he was having was he was going to camp for these last few years. He's been at 140 pounds, always concerning himself with making weight and not learning two new techniques. So fast forward now to where he's fighting back at 147 pounds. You have to ask yourself, the camera's slipping, I don't want it to fall. You have to ask yourself, did he look like he improved on anything? Now, one good thing is, well, first I have to say this. When I'm going with, okay, the fact that I'm allowed, as a blessing to go to these fights and cover these fights as media, I take it seriously, to the point where I'm not a guy who's going to be taking pictures with everybody. Yes, I know I need the memories, but what my mentality is, this is work. I'm going there to work. Yes, I enjoy being there, but I'm the guy that I'm going to the event, I'm talking to the fighters, and then I'm going back and uploading the videos. If I interview a fighter, I'm uploading the video. So therefore, what I'm saying is this. I stayed in the back in the media room, and in the media room, it's a few flat screen TVs. I would say around 47 to 50 inches or so, and it's a Barclays Center feed of the fights. So the fights that you don't get to see, the ones that are untelevised to you, we get to see via the Barclays live video feed of PBC on ESPN. So I'm in the back while the Danny Garcia versus Paulie Malignaggi fight is going on. I'm interviewing the up-and-coming prospect, Pritchard Colon, and at the same time the Garcia versus Malignaggi fight's coming on. But at the same time, on my phone, I have my ESPN 3 app open. That's another good thing about PBC that people don't understand, is you can watch their fights on your phone. But that's a whole different argument. I'm watching on my phone, and at the same time it's on in the background, even though it's muted. So what I'm saying is this: I'm the type of guy that when I watch fights, I don't go to fight parties anymore. I can't go to fight parties anymore because my job is to provide to you post-fight videos on the fights. So what does that look like? Me at a party, a whole bunch of noise, we all watching all on one TV. How can I analyze the fight? If I go to fight parties, I would love to be able to watch the fight somewhere on my own. But what am I going to be, in somebody's basement or in their bedroom or something? So in this case, I tried to do something different, which was cover the fight live from the arena. And I have to say that as time goes on, that's what I'm going to be doing. But since it was my first time doing it, I'm going to get better as time goes on. Just the same way as I look at each event I go to, I make sure I get better as time goes on. People were saying before, and it's understood. Remember, I didn't go to school for this. I went to school for business. I didn't go to school for media. So in a way, all this just happened within a year, to a point where just about 2 months ago, I realized that I'm an official media reporter. I didn't, stuff like that just hit me. But what I'm saying is this. Me going to these events, I'm learning something each time I go. So that's why now you see me more comfortable in getting the interviews. I'm the type of guy where you have to crawl before you walk. I'm not a guy who's just going to go out there and just see if I'm going to sink or swim. Yes, you have to do that sometime in some situations in life, but I've made too many mistakes in life, and I'm just in a situation in life where I can't make mistakes again. So I got to hype myself up. Normally, when I don't get too much sleep, I get real energetic, and it's a bad thing. It's not actually healthy. So we're going to make sure we have a nice, healthy video before I go and start uploading and editing some more videos. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be watching the Rashid Warren fight and covering the Bounce TV card. Against myself. Had a crazy night. The big guy was there. Long story. Can't talk about it. But listen, I'm glad I don't live in New York. I can't deal with all that congestion. When I say I had a crazy night, I cannot even put into words. I'm just glad to be here right now. You know, so Danny Garcia. People are saying now, after Danny Garcia defeated Paulie Malignaggi still seems a little bit torn on if he's going to retire. He has not officially retired yet. He has not officially retired yet. But what he's saying is he doesn't know if he has it in him to get up to go to training camp. Now, in my opinion, Paulie Malignaggi, now, you know, looking at the business side of things, Paulie Malignaggi, with some smart matchmaking, can win some fights and maybe get a title shot. But at this point in time, it's just all about, you know, if he has it up here. That's just my personal opinion. That's me talking, you know, with the promoter hat on, that, you know, like, you know, with some smart matchmaking, there's some guys he can beat. You know, and then also remember, you can always try to put him in there with a Malignaggi versus Broner 2 rematch. People may say that, people may say they may not want to see it, but you never know, believe it or not. So people are saying now that Sean Porter would be able to, quote unquote, bum rush Danny Garcia, that Sean Porter is going to just be able to walk straight through Danny Garcia. Now, even though I'm from Philly, I must say, and I must let you guys know, that I'm a Philly guy who took a lot of heat because I said that Mauricio Herrera, in what he did, in my opinion, beat Danny Garcia. But at the same time, on paper, Danny Garcia is still undefeated, and that's the way it's just got to be looked at. But when it comes to a guy like Sean Porter, I'm thinking to myself, how would he hold up against that left hook? Danny Garcia's left hook is not a myth. Now, how would he hold up against that left hook? And also, Danny Garcia, in my opinion, is a pressure fighter, power puncher. So I asked myself the question of, what is Danny Garcia going to do when him and Sean Porter collide in the middle of the ring? Is Danny going to just not throw punches and get beat up? Yes, Danny Garcia, you know, being light-skinned Puerto Rican, he's going to scar up, and, you know, his face is going to look a mess likely after that fight. But at the same time, Danny Garcia's chin is a bit underrated to me. Now, to go back a little bit, and I got to apologize. When I don't sleep also, you know, I start rambling a little bit. But what I'm going to say is this, because I got to back up and talk about Paulie. At first, I thought the stoppage was unjustified. But then when I got a chance to go home and look at it, the stoppage was a bit premature. And for a guy like Paulie Malignaggi, who, in my opinion, is ending his career, you should let somebody like him go out on his shield. But also Paulie being a commentator, people actually, fans like Paulie. Fans, you know, in my opinion, Paulie is one of the best commentators, top 3 right now. You know, so with that being said, Paulie Malignaggi always has, for example, any interviews Paulie Malignaggi does on YouTube always gets views, whether they're, you know, against on Pacquiao, whatever the case may be. He's a very charismatic dude, and also after each fight, a major fight, people always want to hear what Paulie Malignaggi's prediction is on that fight, or you know, what his post-fight thoughts are on that fight, if you haven't noticed. So Paulie has other things outside of boxing he can be doing, but he hasn't fully, cleanly retired yet. Now let's look at Danny Garcia against a guy like Keith Thurman. You know, remember what Duke told to Apollo Creed in Rocky 1 when Apollo was just looking for, an exhibition. I'm not saying that, I'm just using an analogy to whereas, and the point I'm trying to get to is when Duke was looking at Rocky, pounding that meat, pause. Remember when he said, he's all wrong for us. And if you don't know that scene from Rocky, then you're not, I don't want to say anything. But what I'm saying is this. Keith Thurman is all wrong for Danny Garcia. Just my own personal opinion. Now, Luis Collazo, Danny Garcia does have some good body work. But Danny Garcia, how would his face hold up? Styles make fights. And in my opinion, I don't see Al Heyman making a fight like that. I just don't see it. I don't see it. But that's my own personal opinion. I do feel it was a clean stoppage. Good win by Danny. It was no controversy in my opinion. Even though after I watched the fight the first time, I thought that Paulie was actually, doing a good job. But Paulie just was using a jab and he kept the right hand in a holster for the most of the night. Almost like he was afraid to get countered. I mean, I would too if I was him. Especially after what happened with the Sean Porter fight. But there was many times during the fight where I'm thinking you got him in the corner, Danny, finish him off. Or cut off the ring. Danny at one point in time was just following him around. He's got to fix that. And I'm thinking, what are you chasing the chickens for? What are you chasing the local polo? Anyway, I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. And I cover every single major fight live. Live now. Visit the home of T Street Controversy, RealCombatMedia.com. Also, we have full fight week coverage, as I said. Check out the Keith Thurman interview I did when I asked him about the WBA situation. It's very, very interesting. Also, shout out to Denise over at DeBella Entertainment. I did get your email. I will be responding back to you. Shout out to Kelly Swanson. Thank you for the interview. You will be receiving something at your office. I'm not going to say where your office is, but I don't know if you want the information out there. But you will be receiving something as, I believe we're sending like an edible arrangements type deal thing going on. I don't know. I'm going to talk to my partners. That's what will be going out this week. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. Please subscribe.